All right, here we go. Welcome, everybody. Glad to be here. Thank you for your patience getting started today. It's time to tell the truth. Anybody remember that old game show? Time to tell the truth, to tell the truth. And that's what we call this Time to Tell the Truth series. We're trying to do 52 of them, build up content, and get this message out to those that are ready to hear and those that are not ready to hear. I'm Dr. Rosalind Shaw Belt. For those of you that don't know who I am, and everybody calls me Dr. Roz. I'm the CEO of Dream to Life, LLC, Dream to Life Incorporated, productions, ministry, everything related to just helping people. And I am excited to be here. Done a few things in my lifetime, married to a wonderful man who just got me home in time. And then I am a certified wellness coach. Yes, got certifications from Akana and lifestyle consultant. Also, Flat Belly Lifestyle, where I became a certified wellness coach under the tutorage of our naturopathic Dr. Eric Prince. So today's topic is part two of why Christians get sick. Why Christians get sick. We talked about part one. We covered a number of things that relate to what we're going through in our life. But today we're going to get into a little bit deeper into this. We've been reading this book regarding why Christians get sick, and I'm just going to make animation and just a whole lot of stuff out of this because we're destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Scripture says it in Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And then it doesn't stop there. It says, because you have rejected knowledge, I also reject you from being priests for me. Because you have forgotten the law of your God, I also will forget your children. Oh my God, did God really say that? Yes, he did. Because we reject knowledge. And what does that mean? That means there's a generation that has rejected knowledge. And then there's another generation that comes after that generation that is reaping from the rejection of knowledge. Does that make sense? See, so the lack of knowledge in any subject, and we're talking about health and wellness, but the lack of knowledge in any subject can literally be devastating. And that explains to me why every younger generation, although they're becoming wiser and wiser through technology, they're becoming dumber and dumber in so many other areas. So we got to know the truth. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So I'm challenging you to not be closed-minded. I don't want you to say, sorry, I have a closed mind. If you're watching this, if you stumble upon this, if you begin to subscribe to this YouTube channel, I'm hoping that you will open your mind to begin to say, okay, what is it that I may not know? Because in order to gain knowledge, we need to begin by separating what we know to be true from what we have always accepted. We got to separate true knowledge from our own beliefs and our own opinions. And as it relates to our food, there's so many things that we just have an opinion about or we believe about it, but it may not be true. How many things in your lifetime have you discovered it wasn't true? It's what you believed during that period of time, during that season, you believed it, or you had an opinion about it, but that doesn't make it true.
If your thoughts are swirling with questions, you're in the right place. Let's clear things up. Knowledge is like a sturdy bridge. It's built from facts, evidence, and experience. You can cross it with confidence. Belief, on the other hand, is more like a path through the woods. It's shaped by personal faith, feelings, and trust. Sometimes it's clear, other times a bit foggy. Think of knowledge as the answers we can prove. The Earth orbits the Sun. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Belief, though, is what we hold true without needing proof, like believing in love or karma. Both are valuable. Knowledge grounds us in reality, while belief gives us purpose and hope. Together, they shape our understanding of the world. So next time you're pondering life's big questions, remember, it's okay to walk the bridge and the path. They both lead to wisdom.
So let's get this truth. Let's get this truth and free ourselves, right? So why do we eat the way you do? Why? Okay, let's think about it. Why do you use a fork and a spoon instead of using chopsticks or some other instrument to place food into your mouth? Tradition. That's why we say it. That's just the way I was brought up, right? Tradition. Okay.
No.
Why do most Americans eat three major meals a day, while in other parts of the world, two and sometimes only one is what's necessary?
It's conditioning. Conditioning.
Absolutely. Conditioning. It's conditioning, it's traditional. So that's just the way I was brought up. Why is the majority of food that is consumed in America cooked? Well, it's traditional. That's just the way I was brought up. Why do many people not consider a meal complete without a sugar dessert? Tradition. That's just the way I was brought up. My husband, every meal supposed to have something sweet in it, because that's the way his mother, she always provided something sweet in that meal. So you feel like it's not even complete, no matter how full you are, unless you got a dessert. So let's understand this. Eating habits are handed down from one generation to the other generation. Most of the time, especially when they're bad. Because if we look back at our forefathers and we see that pyramid, that African pyramid, we see a good eating habit. But then when we went through slavery, things changed. And since then, there's been a complete demise. And since advertising has taken place.
But you got to think about your habits and how your habits are affecting your children and how those habits will affect your children's children or your grandchildren. And now if you start looking at how your habits are being passed down to your family, now you can see why we are dealing with so much disease, because we're passing down very bad habits. Most of us don't know what healthy is. I've been eating healthy. I've been doing XYZ, and that's healthy. It's supposed to be healthy. Or I've tried everything. I hear that a lot. I've tried everything. Nothing works. I've tried veganism. I've tried raw food. I've tried all these things. But the reality is we don't know what healthy is. So when we say healthy, we're just saying better than what we were. Like, if you eat McDonald's all the time, healthy would be cooking at home. But if you're eating Hamburger Helper, then that's not healthy. It's just better than eating McDonald's, maybe.
Maybe. So there's holy desperation, guys. Mark chapter 5, verse 25 through 26. There's a story about the woman who had an issue of blood. Issue of blood means she was hemorrhaging. And the Bible says she was doing it for 12 years. And then it goes on to say she had endured much at the hand of many physicians. Watch this right here. She endured much at the hands of many physicians, and had spent all that she had and was not helped at all, but rather had grown what? Worse. She grew worse at the hand of many physicians. Oh my God. Why? Because we live in a drug-oriented society. I mean, let's look at this chart. Per capita prescribed medication, spending dollars from 2004 to 2019. It's atrocious that the graph is constantly going up, and we are in 2024. So listen, this doesn't even compare to where it is today. Our water is drugged. Our water is drugged with chlorine and fluoride. Chlorine is a bleaching agent. Sodium fluoride is used as roach and rat poison. Our foods have been drugged with some 7,000 different chemicals that we've talked about in previous sessions: sodium nitrate, trait and trite, BHA, BHT, EDTA, and a host of other preservative drugs, artificial flavorings, colorings. About 1 billion pounds of these drugs per year are consumed in America. That's over 7 pounds for every man, woman, and child every single year. And then to top it all off, the medical doctor, now I'm not throwing all the doctors under the bus, but this healthcare system, a doctor is licensed to practice the prescribing of drugs. They write a prescription for some more drugs, which is taken to the pharmacist, who is engaged in preparing, preserving, compounding, and dispensing drugs, according to Webster. The pharmacist dispenses and sells the drugs. The sick person whose sickness may quite possibly be a drug reaction from the drugged water and the drugged food then takes these additional drugs, supposedly to cure his illness. Does anybody else but me realize that doesn't make sense? Does anybody else but me realize all of that doesn't fit together? We got drugged water, we got drugged foods, and then we're taking prescription drugs. Drugs. Aspirin. Here's a common one. For example, we take aspirin for a headache. A headache is a warning signal to say that there's a problem. Houston, we have a problem. So what does the average American do when he gets that headache, gets that warning signal? You take some medication, you take some Tylenol, you take an aspirin or 2 or 3. And then what effect does the aspirin have on the body? The aspirin relieves the pain. The Tylenol relieves the pain. But is the problem gone? It's like short circuit the warning device, cut the warning device off and leave the problem there. So then how should we respond when we get a headache or suffer from some other form of illness? We should look to find the cause, eliminate the cause, and thus the headache or whatever the illness may be will go away. That's why here at Econo we talk so much about the plant, the cannabis plant, CBD, all the parts of the cannabis plant that help to remove the inflammation that's causing the pain.
So we've got to look at the heart and how we can keep it strong. We've got to look at the blood vessels, how we can keep them supple. And we've got to look at the blood, how we can keep it nice and thin so that it's running well. One other thing that they have done in an attempt to lower heart disease is put everyone over the age of 50 on aspirin. Does that work? No. The number one cause of stomach ulcers is aspirin because it causes the stomach to bleed. But they've found a few more things out about aspirin. It's causing eye bleeds and it's causing brain bleeds. Eye bleeds means deterioration of eyesight. Brain bleeds means deterioration of brain function. Whew. Drugs never cure disease. They just change the form and location.
Drugs never cure disease. And the thing that bothers me is that they discover all this stuff so much later than is needed. They discover all this stuff down the road somewhere, and how many people are sick, how many people have died, how many people have eye bleed, brain bleed, all that stuff she just said, before they now say, oh, it's being caused by the aspirin.
Major pharmaceutical companies hype fears. They get you afraid of diseases that you don't even have or symptoms you don't even have, and then exaggerate the benefits of their particular drugs without talking about all of the negative side effects, which are far outweigh any minor benefits you might get. The actual researchers themselves say that drugs kill more people. Taking a drug kills more people than the diseases those drugs are being used to treat.
And so see, it's one thing to take a drug because you have an issue that, you just had a car accident or you just got sick and you're in the hospital and you take some drugs to help, you take some antibiotics to remove the swelling. That's one thing. But it's a whole other thing to live your life on them. Here's a gentleman by the name of Sir William A. Lane. He's a world authority on medical matters and long regarded as England's foremost abdominal surgeon. When he was entertained by the staff of Johns Hopkins Hospital, anybody ever heard of Johns Hopkins? And a medical college, he said, "Gentlemen, I will never die of cancer. I am taking measures to prevent it. It is caused by poisons created in our bodies by the food we eat. What we should do then, if we would avoid cancer, is to eat raw fruits and vegetables first, that we may be better nourished. Secondly, that we may more easily eliminate waste products. We have been studying germs when we should have been studying diet and drainage. Oh my God, the world has been on the wrong track. The answer has been within ourselves all the time. Drain the body of its poisons, feed it properly, and the miracle is done. Nobody need have cancer who will take the trouble to avoid it. Thank you, Dr. Lane.
What in the world you on 20 different drugs for a doggone disease that can be reversed in 2 weeks? I'm on this to lower my cholesterol, 5 to lower blood pressure, 10 for diabetes. My foot swole, so I'm on something for that. My head swole, my nostrils are sticking up in. That's confusion. And a whole bag of medications when all you have to do is eat fruit and you'll be healed quickly.
So we know our solution. As Dr. Lane said, as this preacher preached, we've got to eliminate the toxins. That's why we need to detox. That's why it's important that you take steps to detoxify the body of all the heavy metals, of all the toxins, remove the heavy metals out of your body, begin to eat healthy foods, cleanse the intestinal and bowel toxins, expel toxins from the internal organs, clear up the lymphatic congestion to improve immunity, and then we what? Ensure smooth nutrient delivery. Because when you don't detox the body, when you don't clean the sewer system, there is no healing. Well, guess what? That's it for today. We got part 3 next week. We're not finishing this until we get this very clear that why anybody gets sick, but we're kind of focusing on why Christians get sick, since we have the book in front of us that is all about healing.